The evergreen wild olive. It is slow growing, but locals love it for the shade. Then there's the African wattle. Local customers are attracted to its yellow flowers, which will eventually attract the bees in their garden. The sausage tree is also one of the best sellers here at Namibtree's indigenous nursery. It appears that Namibians are becoming hooked to what is homegrown, but this wasn't always the case.
So I think we have some pretty awesome plants in this country, and a lot of people are not aware of it. We have plants that occur only here in this country. We have some plants that have got very peculiar shapes and forms because they are adapted to our very arid environment. So I think our local flora is pretty special. But a lot of the Namibians don't realize that yet. We are so used to going to a nursery and buying exotics, buying plants from different countries which have been imported, which don't really occur here. And we saw the need for promoting our Namibian plants because they are adapted to our soils, to our arid environment. And they do much better here than anything that is imported from another country.
It was only when Namibia went through a recent devastating drought that locals started turning their attention to what could only be found on Namibian soil.
We had that long drought, 3 or 4 years. A lot of the introduced plants died because they were not adapted to such harsh environmental conditions. And I think that is when Namibians began to realize that we have to change our way of thinking about the plants that we use in our gardens. So that is really how we came about, and we want to promote awareness about Namibian plants in general, specifically what you can use them for in your garden or how you can plant them, but also in general how special our plants are and that we need to look after them.
Now, customers are coming from all over requesting for indigenous plant species and using terms like frost hardy or drought resistant.
We've definitely seen a very big increase in interest, in people coming to our nursery and asking what can they plant in their garden that is Namibian, that is adapted to the local conditions. So we've seen a huge increase also in urban gardens, but also for lodges, government institutions. There has been a huge increase in demand for Namibian plants.
The plant experts believe that prioritizing Namibian trees has greater benefits in the long run.
Chances of the trees that you buy here to survive, it's very high with indigenous trees, and this is because they are mostly adapted to the climate, to our arid climate and to the soil. So planting them in your garden, it will require low maintenance and it requires less water. As in winter, we are already fighting the issues with water, how we're saving every drop. So with indigenous trees, you might need to water them when you transplant them, but once established, it minimizes how much you give them. And that's good. And apart from that, you get all this, you are creating a habitat for wildlife, for birds, butterflies, moths, and bees. It's amazing. You're going to have a full garden that attracts everything. That's why you should go indigenous.
There are about 4,000 indigenous plant species in Namibia and 18% are endemic. Frances Shahama, NBC News, Windhoek.